All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and coinaholics of all ages. This is Sean with the Hound, and we have a pocket change market report to talk about for April 19th, 2023. I want to thank you guys for tuning in for one of the most popular videos on my channel each and every single week. Now coming at you twice a week. We also have them on Saturday as well. Pretty big one right here. We have a very healthy amount of coins to talk about, all from within the last 24 hours of realized sales. A very, very active market going right now, and I expect that to continue on as we approach Memorial Day, where things typically kind of take a little bit of a shift. As some of your more higher profile collectors, they actually do take vacation, guys. In case you haven't figured it out by now, last few years were kind of an interesting circumstance, with a certain pandemic, and all that. So people had no choice other than to keep on collecting. But now things are a little bit different. We're well beyond that, and we might see an actual regular cycle, for the coin market in general. We'll see. It remains to be seen. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of monitor this over the next 60 days. If this is your first time here, a few other things that normally I talk about in these videos is that all the coins were found at some point in the wild, either going through massive amounts of coin change, going through your kids' piggy banks, things like that. Or coin roll hunting is a very big activity right now in the hunt for silver especially. There are other coins to be on the lookout for. But if you're an avid showgoer and a coin shop hunter, you could also identify and cherry pick some of these coins for a very, very cheap amount of money. So that way you could add something really cool and unique to your collection or to resell. I know a number of people that do this as their regular job and do it very well, might I add. I'm one of them, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, it's another way that you could enhance the experience to go along with, finding some of the coolest U.S. Mint errors and varieties. We don't talk about graded coins either. All right, grading coins in general adds up an unneeded expense element to the whole thing. You could spend anywhere from $30 to $60 just to get an error attribution on a coin that otherwise is still worth $20 to $50. So don't do it. These sell for themselves. All right, so that's kind of like the normal mumbo jumbo I talk about every day. I usually do a quick whatnot coin auction preview for the week that I do launch an actual live stream. Hey, best of luck, to everyone this week. If you guys are going to check out some of the other whatnot streams, there's some that go on daily. But no coin auction from myself this Friday. I have some inventory that's going to be running late, so I wouldn't be able to launch this until next week anyways. But your next show on BlueRidgeSilverhound will be April 28th. So if you guys are into that, I know I have a few regulars that do love that sort of thing, and I appreciate you guys for all of your continued patronage and business. Yeah, I will be back a week from this Friday. So go ahead and check that out if you so inclined. And I'll also have the referral link code down below in the description box, and I'll probably end up pinning it in the comments as well. You'll receive $15 credit, so you won't get that any other way. Even going on to the platform and signing up, you only get 10. So if you use my referral link, you do get 5 extra bucks. So you could use that on your first purchase. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the set of coins that we have for you here on Wednesday. Starting out with actually a mainstay. I'm happy to say that these coins are still being pursued out there. There are a few brand new doubled dies that have emerged, within the last 6 months. I'd call it pretty recent. Dr. Wiles have attributed all of these, so they have actual attribution numbers, which I'm happy to say. And they all start with a V for Variety Vista. Here's one of them right here. And this is actually one of the ones that people are really looking for, especially in decent shape. And the longer we continue to go out, distance ourselves away from the release of this quarter, the more beat up that these coins will be. So finding one that's going to be in nice shape is going to be paramount into your sales final kind of number. And this one, by the way, all the doubled dies are going to be on the reverse, and they all involve the earring on Maya Angelou. So this one right here is a VDDR number 3. Probably one of two of the most desirable. I believe there's a number 4 as well. That one's really hard to find. So between number 3 and number 4, those two particular coins are the ones that are more desirable in today's market. A lot of people have number 1 and number 2, so those prices have kind of eroded over the last few months. I see them, you know, for as low as $5 now. But for a coin like this one right here, by the way, not even, I would say it's pretty well circulated from what I could see. You could tell from this close-up, it's got a number of nicks and scratches and whatnot on there. This one sold for $26.50, and that's with 5 bids. And I happen to know that there are a few dedicated collectors that are looking for this coin in a much higher grade. So they will certainly open up their wallets to accommodate anyone that finds it. So consider it a little bit of a bounty of sorts. But again, a coin that is just barely a year old, you know, is still one that is very searchable, and one that you should definitely keep an eye out on. The next one that we have here is a coin that I would say is the first time that we've covered this one. This one is, it's an interesting one for sure, because it's had a lot of, I don't know, proponents and also the antagonists. There are a few people that don't particularly like this example. It's on a 1950-60 Lincoln wheat cent. But if you look at these arrows, and good job, by the way, to the seller for actually pointing this out, there looks to be a phantom S right there between the 1 and 9 in the date. Now, believe it or not, this coin is recognized in the Cherry Picker's guide as FS511. Now, is that an errant S mint mark? That's the question. A lot of people seem to think so, but at the same time, there's a good, healthy amount of people that think otherwise. It could just be, you know, a little bit of a die gouge or something to that effect. I don't know. I mean, you know, if an S mint punch was used, then I don't know why the Denver Mint would have an S punch for San Francisco. I wouldn't know why they would have something like that. But yeah, this is, you know, kind of like captivated a lot of Lincoln cent hunters over the years. But for as crazy as it is, they call this a dual mint mark. Not an over mint mark, because it's not a D over S, because there's a completely separate anomaly way far away from the actual position of the mint mark. This one ended up selling for $55.15. You get this coin, big, large carbon spot and all. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I don't know. This one is just going to end up being a big question mark for years to come. So you either love it or hate it, but keep in mind, the market seems to be acceptable of it, and they sell for a pretty decent amount of cash. All right, long-winded rant aside on the 56D. This one right here looks like it came out of a mint set, and the way I know is it has that swirly pattern on both sides of the coin, and that's usually the chemical reaction from the plastic film, probably mixing a little bit of moisture as well, to the coins. A lot of coins from the early 70s in those original mint packages, they didn't look too good, especially if you find one that's been in a hot environment, you know, hot, sweaty environment. But this is one to look out for regardless. 1970S, I believe these are all large dates, but it's a pretty prominent repunched mint mark. This is actually RPM number 1, and I believe it's a Cherry Picker's Guide variety as well. So this one, again, is a great coin to find in those mint sets. This one ended up selling for $23.90. Nice little amount of money here. Don't overlook these. And of course, there are a number of Buffalo nickels where you could find the 2 feather varieties, which is simply just an over-polished die. Typically, when you look at these coins, this area right here would have a 3rd feather. This one does not. But you could also tell looking at the other points, like underneath the chin area, the throat, this is pretty well, I guess, over-polished as well. The coin looks and appears to be rotated. That's only because there is a slight rotation. That's even if the front of the coin was upright. You know, you might have like a 20, 30, 25 degree rotation clockwise on this one. But the coin is in pretty decent shape, although it has kind of a funny, I don't know, kind of like pitted surface. So I don't know if this was dipped in, you know, like nicodate acid or something like that. Kind of hard to say. Really hard to say with these images. But any two-feather buffalo that you can find, and there's a number of dates, ladies and gentlemen, and they're all in the Cherry Picker's Guide. These are pretty decent sellers. This one, someone probably, actually a number of people probably saw that there was issues with the overall look of this coin. They only bid it up to $13, and that was the final sale price, and that was with 5 bids. All right, well, Coins and Cards back with another white-hot entry into this week's PCMR, featuring an 1864 L on ribbon Indian head cent. This one is quite nice. You know, I'd say it's probably a solid like XF40 grade if I had to guess, but crazy as it seems, why is there an S mint on the reverse? Huh. It's not supposed to have an S mint. That actually might be added in there from a 1908 S reverse. So I think Coins and Cards probably used the wrong reverse image on this one. Well, there you go. That kind of explains things. But anyways, there's no denying that there are a number of really awesome repunch dates that you could find on this particular date. The L on ribbons have always been very cherry pickable in my view. You'll notice a little bit of doubling on United States of America. That's what they call long acre doubling, all right, which is a type of machine doubling on this. So this one ended up selling for $350 with 44 bids. Just a really beautiful example, even though it's got the wrong reverse on there. All right, currency made quite a bit of an impact this week, as it has here the last few weeks. I think people are starting to pay more closer attention to this segment of numismatics, and it shows. We have a 1977A $5 Fed Reserve note with a gutter fold right there to the left of the black district seal, and there was simply just a wrinkle in the sheet prior to the first print of the front. Which it happens on occasion. I've even seen this anomaly, this error on some of the newer notes going into like 2017. There was one that was discovered on a $1 bill. So yeah, you know, if the wrinkle was never stretched out prior to the print on that sheet, then it will print over it. And then when you do stretch it out, you'll have this inkless guttered area there. On the back of the note, you can see that the gutter does not carry over in this part. Sounds like possibly because they do print the back first on these. The wrinkle was attempted to be stretched out, and it probably was, or maybe it stretched out just during the printing process. So this one right here ended up selling for $91.39 with 25 bids. Quite a bit of activity on this one. And then there was also this one here. Now, we've seen a fair share of 1999 dated off-center struck coins, mostly Lincoln cents and Jefferson nickels, and they're all pretty much P Mint coins. However, today we have a Denver Mint example, and these are a little bit tougher to find. This particular one right here is off-center by about 55–60% in that general area. So this one ended up selling for $26.75 with 10 bids, whereas normal P Mint coins would be right around $20 or less. This is probably the biggest piece of currency for the week. It might even trump anything that pops up on the weekend, you know, just saying. 1969 C Series $50 note. Has a fold over and a print over as well. This is a stunning to the eyes type of note. These are all quite valuable, and very rarely do you come across one like this ungraded. These are typically in a graded holder at some point, and here we are many years later after grading is a very progressive, very popular thing today. Hard to believe that this one is not even in a PMG or PCGS currency holder. This one right here, you can see the butterfly fold unfolded. You can even see the salvage is what they call it, which is that 42130. That's any of the identifying kind of like character marks and things like that outside of the crop marks. All right, so that would be something like that. And then you can even see that on the reverse as well. You can actually see the printed overprint right on the fold over, which is quite interesting. And I'll be honest, that is sexy as all get out. I've never been able to, realistically afford one of these. Otherwise, I would have one in my collection. A $50 bill is just bonkers. So 50s and 100s in the old style design. This one ended up selling for $1,095. So yeah, definitely not in the budget. But I'm glad someone did pick up this fine note. And I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like it might end up in a graded holder in the near future. Here's another one too. I mean, you guys remember this one. We talked about this one on a number of occasions. You can find this on the 2004A and also the 96 20s that are non-colorized, but they still had the big head design on them. But simply, the green seal was omitted from the plate. So on two specific, kind of like date ranges, you could find this on there. So no green seal on that 20 there on the right side. Pretty nice error, very valuable. This one sold for $149.99. Again, hard to believe that this one had circulated so much before someone actually got a little bit curious, But there you go, just a really great looking error. There's a little bit of a back image there showing a really strong like centerfold, a little bit of general circulation wear all throughout. And this might be the last piece of currency for this little run here, but we also have this, what is it, 1995 $1 bill. You can tell that the overprint in this particular case is shifted to the right, so they call this a misalignment. Always popular to find one of these, and there are a healthy amount of collectors for these type of errors. This one right here sold for $33.49 with 6 bids. A very ragtag kind of note. So, these will sell for more money depending on grade. Grade does matter, also with a lot of coins and currency. All right, we covered one of these a little while ago, probably six months ago, probably during the holiday season, but always a good one to look out for. And this is actually a full-blown cut on a 2020 Lincoln Shield cent. You can actually see that anomaly right there, going from the rim and into Lincoln's jacket area, just under his bow. Yeah, it's wide enough to be a cut, and really sizable. It pops right off the coin, and I've heard that people have run their fingers at the top of that, and it's like it's sharp, so kind of hard to miss. But because of where it's at on Lincoln's jacket, these are missed by a lot of people that don't collect coins, so it would draw their attention anyways. So this one here sold for $25.25, so really nice payday there. We also have this 1978 Washington quarter, a beautiful BU specimen. Looks like there is even a little bit of a strike through right here to the left of Liberty. So it could have been like a wire bristle or something to that effect that was on the dies prior to the strike. And this one off center by about maybe 20%, I'd guess. That's kind of like a decent estimate. This one sold for $72.43 with 35 bids this time around. All right, so we've seen a few of these sell here recently, and they like dropped off the map for a good solid like 6 to 8 months. There would be like the occasional one that would pop up, but the American Samoa, what they call blind bat quarters, which is their affectionate nickname, has been getting more activity here recently. And you know, you'd figure for as many of these that people are finding out in circulation that these things would hemorrhage in value, like not all the way down to zero, but it's like, well, when is these things going to be like $50, right? That's everybody's expectation when these constantly get cranked out into the market. And it was the case for a good while after they were discovered. But now here we are, 3 years later. You know, this thing's been out for over 3 years now because it was the first coin for that year. But yeah, that's a pretty decent sized strike through right on Mama Bat's face. All right. And there's a couple different types of sizes and shapes of this anomaly. And I'm happy to say that the prices are still wildly great. You know, even for coins like this that, you know, they're like borderline uncirculated, I would say. This one sold for $309.25. The same seller also had this example, which is kind of like akin to the one that we're used to seeing. Again, a little bit of circulation wear. Has a nice sizable nick right on Washington's nose, so it's far from the perfect coin. And this one also sold for $309 as well. So anytime you come across these, and there's a prominent TikTok breaker of quarters, so you can actually buy into breaks of quarter rolls. He's been finding these left and right. All right, so they're still out there, and they are wildly expensive to this day. So you have a market that enjoys and loves these coins, and they will throw as much money as they can to own one. So there you go. Easy money here with this one. 2023 Lincoln Shield. Now, you probably guess what's on this one. It's that pesky VDB-V anomaly that we don't know a ton about. You know, what causes that extra V there to the right of the main initials of Victor David Brenner? I want to know. And so does Ken Potter. So he's still researching these, looking for examples of this anomaly. We'll find out what it is, I'm sure, here in the next few months. This one is sold for $25.75 with 14 bits. So still quite good. It's not quite the $35 like it was for, you know, a few months. But probably I would, if I had to guess, what's the condition of this one? It's a little bit circulated. So one that's in much more prime condition will end up probably still fetching that $30 to $40 range. But look out for this. This is kind of like the hot coin right now in 2023 until further notice. Wow. I mean, great to see one of these. 1901 Indian head set. This uncentered broad strike, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, uncentered broad strike, it looks like. Coin is in phenomenal shape. I'd say it's a solid AU plus, you know, like an AU 58 if I had to assign my own personal grade to something like that. But really cool. I mean, off-centers and broad strikes and Indian head sets are going to be desired until the end of time, you know, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. These things were more widely available 15 years ago, and there are just not as many quality examples today. So this one sold for $153.85 with 13 bids. Nice little cut here on a 1984 Lincoln Memorial over the word "we" and "trust." So cut's always kind of like the big deal today in the error market. This one sold for $25.25. All right, another $25 coin. And this might be the little collection that you might want to add if you had the means. We have a lot of 4 partial wet ink transfer notes. So you have the affected side that's on the left there, and then the normal side's on the right. So there was a little bit of ink on the impression cylinders prior to the print of certain areas of the note, thereby transferring a reverse ghost image of what was on that impression cylinder to whatever side it was being printed. So yeah, a really nice group. All the notes are in phenomenal shape, and it says a lot when you have a 1, 5, 10, and 20, like the 4 main denominations, and they're all different dates. So this ended up selling for $380.25 as a group. You know, I would say if you're looking for a impactful error collection to add, this is it right here. As far as reselling these, I don't know if there's a lot of money to be made here. really don't. You know, that's kind of like the top end of the mark for a lot of these, and they're partials as well. So you have to consider that you'd be lucky to get $80 to $100 per note if you did resell it. So I don't know. You could probably stretch that out a little bit more, but you know, considering eBay fees and all that stuff, you know, this is just a great collection to either sell if you don't need it or it doesn't suit your need, or buying it to add, you know, to your position of wonderful currency errors, which, by the way, is gaining steam today in the market. We also have this one. It's kind of a beater. I've owned one of these in a like a Rattler holder from PCGS. It's an 1870 Indian Ed Cent, a really tougher date, you know, by all accounts. But even this beat up example is a good one to find if you're able to get it for cheap, you know, like 25 bucks or less. But this one is the infamous pickaxe variety. It's got the, I don't know if they call this like a die gouge or, you know, a die break or something right here, but it looks like a pickaxe. On much nicer examples, that one really shines through as looking like a pickaxe that used to be used back in the day. This one sold for $72.50. I would sell that all day long for that amount of money, considering its overall condition, which is not good. Now, this thing is really cool. Talk about really strong clash dies. The new Edith Kanaka Ole probably delivers that so far this year on this 2023P. This is a landmark kind of sale for you. But check out the clashing, you know, right on Washington's face. You know, it looks like he has like a unicorn horn thing, and then, you know, stuff coming out of his mouth, and then you got that spike coming out of his eyeball. And then you have like a few letters in his ear, you know, from Edith and Kanaka cannoli, which is a type of oil that's used to cook. Yeah. Anyways, that's a tongue twister by itself. So you're probably wondering, how much does something like this go for? How about $52? You know, with 20 bits. You know, pretty good pictures too. Die clashes in general are very nice when they're very strong. People are gonna love them, and they're gonna buy them. So while this is like the hottest, newest thing going right now, as far as quarter releases, you know, it might be worth looking for this. Now, I don't typically talk about graded coins, but I figure I'd give this one a little bit of a pass because it was, number one, sold by Mr. Sullivan, who's one of the renowned error attribution guys and collectors. But it's also in a SEGS holder, which nobody takes SEGS, you know, seriously for years. This one, 1995P, is off-center by about 25%. This one sold for $82. And then, you know, good old favorite here, 2021 Lincoln Shield Cent. Not the best pictures because it's kind of hard to see that die crack on the obverse, but this is the good old K3 to K7 die crack that eventually would turn into a much more major retain cut die break, or a really big die break for that matter. 2021P Lincoln Shields. This one sold for $110. Man, we just don't see these out in the market too much anymore. And then Holy Die Break Batman. We have a double CUD. One retained CUD and then one full-blown CUD. All on one coin. No readable date, of course. I haven't seen one of these in a little bit of time. I think someone had bought one like it and showed it off on Facebook, and I was just enamored by it. And I'm like, wow, you know, those dies. Nobody really paid any attention until it was all done. This one sold for $410.50. One of the more extreme examples of a CUD die break that you will ever encounter. And, you know, what's cool is the coin is not really anything to scream about condition-wise, but when you have these two big honkers on there, that just says the story in itself. Yeah, no, this one right here is a low-leaf Wisconsin quarter. The photos are just really washed out with all sorts of lighting that you can barely see it, but it's there. 2004D, you can see the little low-leaf variant right there, which is, I believe, intentionally done back in the day. Almost 20 years old, by the way. Yeah, kind of crazy. But anyways, this one ended up selling for $85 with 25 bids. So still popular, probably till the end of time. Pretty cool one here. Lincoln Cent Memorial back. The front, wow, crazy. It looks like a much larger stretched out Lincoln Memorial, and it is. It's a coin that was struck through a late stage cap die with a brockage. All right, so pretty cool when you could come across one of these, or it's a late stage brockage. It's not a late stage cap die. Late stage cap die means that you don't see any brockage whatsoever. So yeah, I take that back. Late stage brockage cap die. All right, so I had to get the kind of like the orientation of the words correctly, so that way I sound halfway intelligent today for once. So this one right here sold for $70.25, and no, that is not the last coin, because this bad boy came up here last second on the good old auction marketplace. Undated Lincoln Wheat Cent, nice size cut die break there on the right side of the coin. This one blasted through for $81 sale with 9 bids. Just can't state enough. Even with unreadable date coins, with some probably like this one has a few pretty sizable nicks right on the cud part, which some people can be a little bit funny about things, but like that. But this is a scarce one. We don't see this as often. Probably in a year's time, maybe 2 or 3 of these pop up in the marketplace if you're lucky. So yeah, some people will make an extra concession for damage, and just go with what's available right now. So not too bad, $80 sale. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. You guys have been fantastic. Now the work begins. Go out there, do some hunting. We got some shows coming up. Wow, lots of shows coming up. And I am actually going to go to one next week here in Sacramento. So, yeah, pretty crazy. Time to do some cherry picking and make a name for yourself, for you and your wallet and your collection. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my content, video, channel, and everything else if you enjoy it. And come check me out on TikTok. I haven't posted anything in a few days there, but it's always good, kind of like short format type stuff at BlueRidgeSilverhound. That's it, guys. I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful day. Keep on hunting, and best of luck in all of your hunting endeavors. See ya.